So, welcome, gorgeous souls, to another juicy, joyful episode of Live Your Best Laugh. I am mega excited about my guest. In fact, we were having such a juicy chat. I was like, we better actually record the podcast. Otherwise, we'll just sit here chatting because she is such a gorgeous soul. Today, I have got the amazing Helen Thorn with us. She is an award-winning comedian, podcaster, and Sunday Times best-selling author, yet to be again. She is one half of the successful comedy duo Scummy Mummies and is a multiple marathon running enthusiast, no less, definitely, particularly after this weekend, who has recently completed all the world majors. And actually, we can add to that, you can create your own marathons too.
Yes.
I love it. So, Helen, if you just want to say hello to everyone listening and anything you want to share about yourself, my lovely.
Oh, well, thank you. What an introduction. Yes. Who's this lady you talk about? She sounds great. Um,
She bloody is.
she's all right. She's all right. She's still, I want to bring people back to earth. I'm sitting here in my pajamas. I've got my makeup on from last night. I had a book party last night. Yes, I ran a marathon on Sunday, and I've got a new book out, but I'm still, sitting here a bit smelly.
I love that. Maybe that should be your new tagline.
Smelly Helly. Yeah, so yes, I've had quite, let's say, the big J word from the get-go. I've had a big journey, Kat, as you know, in the last 6 years. Yeah, it's 6 years ago, last month. I became a divorcee. I had a horrific separation. I found out my ex-husband had been having an affair for 4 years. So it was sort of
Wow.
earth-shattering betrayal, which sort of spiraled me into a dark, deep depression. It was also co-aligned with the lockdown and COVID. So my world got blown up catastrophically
Yeah.
in March 2020. And like many of us, I kind of retreated. For me, in a cloud of cigarette smoke, takeaways, pizza, depression, all the things. And I went, and that is very unlike me. My job as a stand-up comedian, I've always been a pretty sunny person.
Right.
But I faced pretty dark, hard things, and I learned how to be angry. I learned how to be sad. And one of the biggest things I learned was I asked for help. And that is
Wow.
something very difficult when you've been a people pleaser, a giver, the person who wants to lift everyone else up. But I was very heavy with a living grief, basically.
Yeah.
But in that time, so I sort of suddenly became a single parent overnight, and yeah, and I had to face a reality and a path ahead that I didn't think I'd ever have to face. When I got married, that was it. That I did take my vows quite seriously. I thought, no, all
Yeah.
right, locked in. This is my fella. Turns out he was also someone else's fella. So
Uh,
anyway, so yeah, so in that first year, I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about alcohol, learned a lot about being a single lady, and all sorts of things. And I also managed to write a book called Get Divorced, Be Happy. And it was a very
mm,
cathartic experience because I put all my deep, raw, brutal thoughts into words and interviewed other people who'd gone through it and experts and things. And yes, unbeknownst to me, it became, well, unexpectedly, it became a Sunday Times bestseller, which was very
yeah.
odd. I quite overwhelmed by that. Um, and it has since yeah, it's done very well, and I get messages every week from women saying, oh, the book's changed my life, it's helped me, with that, my struggles. Or some women say, I listened to it and helped me decide to leave my husband. I was like, you're welcome.
Right. Wow. Yeah.
So
Well, see, you're
yeah,
not alone, right? You're not alone.
yeah,
Although that, like, going through that, I imagine felt really freaking lonely, right?
yes,
Because
yes.
suddenly, like you say, your world, like, as you knew it, like was like completely, the opposite. So
Mm,
it's a really lonely and I guess disabling experience because there's so much out of your control. But, like you say, the cathartic feeling of writing that book and hearing from the other people, it's like we're never alone in what we're going through,
Yeah.
and whilst it can feel like the deepest, darkest depths, I love what you shared about asking for help
Mm.
because, like, definitely the people pleasers and that kind of like just fixer doing. But also, I think if you are like someone that's learned to be like really resilient and like a coper,
Yeah.
I'll manage this, and I share this because like that's me. Do you know what I mean? Like I've
Yeah.
had to really
Everyone,
learn to
yeah,
ask for
exactly.
help, and I think particularly women, we're so bloody good at doing things amazingly and lots of different, ones at the same time, right? But actually, that like saying, do you know what? I just need someone to hold me, to like just whatever, like be with me, listen, not listen or
Yeah.
whatever it is,
Mm.
it's actually such a good thing for us to learn to do as humans,
Yeah.
isn't it? Because actually there's always a SWAT team of amazing people that
Mm.
are there to like scoop you up and champion you. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, and I think and even if they're not in your immediate community, I think now, and social media does get a bad rap, but also it's a way in which you connect with people who've walked over the same hot coals.
Yeah.
There's that's what I found. I was talking about this last night, that going through this really hard thing actually made me part of this incredible community of runners. Like, I started running, I became part of the single parent community. I became part of a community of women who like lifting heavy weights, all these sort of amazing women who have all come to it for different reasons, but have
Mm,
found a place to be safe, to be seen. And some women uh, choose to have children on their own. Other women become single parents for a variety of reasons. So there's lots of ways. I've just felt so uplifted by that community. And in my recent book that I've written, How to Face Big Change and Come Back Stronger, there.
yeah.
Thank you very much. Which you are in, lovely cat. You are in. You've got beautiful words in this book and beautiful advice. That there is a mutual beneficial thing about giving to friends or receiving. Like, friends want to help you. It's as we both know, when you're seeing a friend in pain or going through a really sad time, it breaks your heart. And if you can bring a lasagna or just sit with them, just to be there.
Mm,
And I think one of the biggest things I've learned, and I've heard from other women, is that they're so scared about saying the wrong thing. Like, if your friend's
right.
going, they don't have the words, and
Yeah.
sometimes even saying, "Look, I don't know what to say, but I love you, and I just want to be here for you," can be just showing up. I think just
Yeah.
showing up for your friends and just saying, "I'm here. I'm here."
Mhm.
I had a friend who said, especially after I just found out about the affair, said, "I'm going to call you at 10 a.m. every day, and you can pick up or not pick up. But just to let you know, that's what I'm going to do for you every day." And it was beautiful. And even though I watched the phone ring out because I couldn't have
Yeah.
the words, I just thought, I'm just receiving that love.
Oh,
And then I'd pick up sometimes and go, "I love you." Yeah.
that gave me a little goosey rush.
Oh,
It really did because like like it sounds so simple, doesn't it? But actually it is like that's such a powerful like it goes beyond words, doesn't it?
yes. Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it, it's just that knowing that there is someone there who is holding you, you know?
Yeah.
And like you say, you could watch it ring out, but it's just knowing like their arms are around you, you know?
Yeah.
It's just so
Yeah, I've been
powerful.
very fortunate, and I think yeah, I was saying this last night. I had my local book launch, and I said, I am changed because women believed in me,
Mm,
and then therefore I believed in myself. And what I want this new book to be is all that love, faith, courage, decent kicks up the butt when I needed a
Mm.
good kick up the butt. I want to funnel that all into the book and keep passing that on, because I think that's the real power in women, is that we never leave anyone behind, and
Mm.
we make sure everyone feels valued and seen. And so I just thought I've just been so privileged, because I've been a podcaster, and because I've been I am a comedian and podcaster, and part of these communities. I thought, I have received all this beautiful advice and love. How can I share and encapsulate all these different communities and women? And so that's why I wrote the book, because I just think, I think to see the different paths that we can walk down. And I keep saying in the book, you don't have to run, you don't have to cold water swim, you don't have to do all these
Yeah.
things. I know other
Yeah.
people have, but find your own sparkle, find your own
Yeah.
community where you feel like. Some people have taken up, after a friend's husband died, she took up jujitsu, and she said
Right.
it's really a really incredible community to be part of. So, yeah, I think that's what I've learned so much about, is that um, also this strength comes in different forms. Yes, there's our resilience, but strength also comes in brokenness and in
Mm.
accepting love and help and saying, I can't cope, I can't do
Yeah.
this. There's a real
Yeah.
strength in that, because that takes courage.
Yeah. Yeah, gosh. And when I think back to the me of, a number of years ago, I definitely was in the camp of like, I'm just going to be resilient. And it's because there were parts of me that were like really freaking sad and
Mm.
and not healed, and so would kind of reject the stuff because
Yeah.
like in my body, I would tell myself it felt safer, right? Because
Mm.
essentially, at the bottom line for all of us, through whatever's going on, we just want to feel safe, don't we? We just want to feel safe. And I would like keep myself in my eyes, like my lens for it was like, oh, this will keep me safe. If I reject this and I reject this, and I'll just do it myself, and and then there won't be the disappointment or the letdown, or all these things that we can, because of our lived experience, tell ourselves, well, that's why we should carry on in that default pattern. But actually, like you've just shared, like the sharing of like, actually, I'm really not feeling freaking okay, and I need someone
Mm.
to just hold me, or that I can just go to, or whatever,
Yes.
like when we can get to that point of actually I'm safe and I can do this, that's when we let some of that old stuff go, isn't it? That has maybe
Yes.
been like dragging along with us for too long, and like it's time for it to, do you know what I mean? It to be put to bed and for us to be,
Yes.
yeah.
And I think, and it is ultimately about how we adapt to change. How do we adapt
Mm,
to the new normal that we're in, especially
yeah.
after grief? I lost, my mum died 2 years ago, and I could never imagine a world where my mum wasn't here. I still every morning want to pick up the phone and call her, especially
Mm,
now I've done, if I've done a marathon, or if I done, even if the kids have just done something lovely at school. Like, I always
yeah.
had her as a sounding board, and I feel really lost. I feel really untethered. And, you know, I think sometimes, I mean, we all like a little bit of validation. We like a little bit of a head pat, but there's nothing, for me, and I can't speak because everyone's relationships with their parents are different. But for me, having my mum saying "well done" was really, it's really important, and I think
Yeah.
that's a really hard thing to get my head around actually now. And I think my second year of grief has been a lot harder, and it's something I really deep dive into in the book as well, because I explain. I wasn't with my mum in the room, but my sister was on the phone, video phoning, and we were singing to her. My siblings and my dad and I were all singing to her, and she died, and I watched her die um, on
Mm,
on my phone while I was in England, and it was really beautiful. It was
mm.
really sweet and peaceful, and we were singing "Thank You for the Music" by ABBA.
Oh,
Um, I know, because she gave us the music. Oh God, I'm gonna cry. Anyway,
oh,
yeah, it was a real privilege to watch my mum go. And yeah, and I thought that would be the scariest thing, but
Yeah.
actually it's more scary being being here without her,
Yeah.
um, than that bit. That was kind of, I'm glad, I'm very fortunate that I was there for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think, yeah, but even the fact that I'm talking about death now and all those sort of things doesn't feel like me of many years ago. I'd be like, oh God, I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
Yeah.
So I feel, yeah, I feel much more robust, but also in a way, yeah, like I was saying, like I'm much more um able now to say, oh, I'm pretty broken, or I need some time off,
Yeah.
or and carving out time for my own peace, which is
Yeah.
impossible sometimes when you've just got to work, don't you? There's no other option than like getting up. This morning I was like, oh, I would rather not get up and make a sandwich for my son, but I fucking have to, but yeah, so those sort of things. So but I'm just constantly uplifted by all the women that I meet through these different channels. Like, we've connected
Yeah.
online, and when I was writing my book, I was like, oh, I wanted a section about laughter and joy, and I was like, oh, there's that lady that we we've connected on Instagram about running and laughing. Should I contact her? And here we are now. It's really beautiful.
Oh, and I'm so happy you did. And the reason why I knew of you, I didn't know of you through Scummy Mummies. I ran London for the first time when I was 50, so 4 years ago, and you were talking as a first-time marathon runner from the year
Oh,
before. And I
oh,
looked at you, the expo thing, or Meet the Experts, big auditorium, and there you were. And this is that thing about where you see yourself in other people, and I saw myself in you, and like the
oh,
way you talked, it was just so like real and open, and I was like, you were just the perfect person for me as a first time marathon runner who had learned to run a few years before, who couldn't run. Do you know what I mean? Who then
yeah,
kind of like, cranked it up from a 5K to a 10K to oh my God, I'm going to do a half marathon. I was like, oh bloody hell, I'm going to do a marathon at 50. So you were like, you
oh,
literally like the perfect person. So that's when I started following your journey, because I was like, bloody hell, like Helen can do it. I can do it. It's like I love
mm,
this is this thing, right? And this is where I do think women are so incredibly brilliant at this. Is like we show what's possible, right?
mm,
And look at what someone else is doing and go, okay, if it's possible for them over here, then it's possible for me over here. And
yeah,
and yeah, so I've followed your running journey. Haven't I haven't gone in quite the same direction as you, but I'm running one every year of my 50s, and that
oh,
feels
fantastic.
like and it was listening to you there about you sharing about running, and I was like, oh my God, like there's probably more than one in me then. It isn't, I
Mm,
don't just have to do the one and tick the box. Like we're
yes,
we're so much more capable than we maybe allow ourselves to believe,
yeah, yeah,
and you've shown that with all like the all the marathons you've been
wow,
running in the last few years, right? But it's
yeah,
really inspiring. I bet you have got loads of women like going, okay, I'm going to give it a whirl. And I don't mean a marathon, but just like, oh, do you know, I might learn to run 5K and see if
mm,
that supports my mental, emotional, and physical health. Because as we all know, it's about so much more than running, right?
yes, yeah,
Isn't it?
yeah, yeah. It is, and it's carving out time for yourself, which is, again, where a lot of women are very bad at. Like, no, the washing can wait, everything else can wait. I'm going to take myself outside. It's connecting with nature.
Yeah,
It's deep breaths. It's getting away from your phone.
yeah,
It's yeah, again, connecting with other women, communities. But
yeah,
it's about self-belief, and it's, as we all know, like, exercise is like having a hit of antidepressants. It's
yeah,
like, it lowers the cortisol, gives you those beautiful endorphins. There's all those sort of things that it's so good for you. It's such medicine. And it's not about how far or how fast you run. It's about choosing yourself, which seems
yeah,
radical.
yeah.
Almost. it's a radical choice as a woman, especially
Yeah.
at our age, when you're meant to be giving either to elderly parents or children or your work or your career, plus you're going mental in
Yeah.
menopause, all those sort of things. So I think, yeah, I can't now imagine life without running, because I
Mm.
can feel like, especially if I'm injured or something like that and I haven't been able to get out, I'm like, I don't feel the same. I don't, it's my grounding force. Like, it's my
Mm.
sort of, yeah, it's my lifeline. So I think, and I was like, oh, who am I? Who was I? Who was I before running? But I get so much from it. And I think with running, the more you put into it, the more you get back. It's quite a good mathematical thing. Like, you can
Yeah.
really feel, like, as training for a marathon, every week you just up the distance,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh God, I can run 10 miles
Yeah.
this week, and I can run 12 miles the next week or whatever. Yeah, it's a really beautiful thing. And like, oh, so on Sunday, I did a marathon. It was meant to be in Rome. You know this story, Kat. So my my passport got delayed coming back to me, which meant I couldn't hop on a plane to go and do the Rome Marathon, which I've been training for months. And I had a big cry, and I had a big mess. And I thought, what am I going to do? Like, I've trained for this marathon. I'm going to run a marathon. And then I thought, I know, I'll run an Italian themed marathon. Like, there's the
Of
London Coliseum, there's Pizza Express, there's the Italian Embassy. And so I plotted out this, I went to Gucci. We
course.
walked into Gucci. We weren't allowed to film in there. Like, welcome to Gucci. This is the flagship. And I was in my sweaty gear with my Italian flags on my backpack, and it was nuts, but really joyful. And then, yeah, and then I had 5 friends who joined me along the way, and one of them made me spaghetti bolognese in the park at 7 a.m.
Very early in the morning, wasn't it?
Yes, yes, yes. So I met her, had some spaghetti bolognese, and that was really cute. But yeah, I think running connects people like that. And and then I
Mm.
ran over to Clapham, picked up Bryony Gordon, another friend, Laura Biceps, and then went up to London Bridge, and then, yeah, went to the embassy, went to the Italian Gardens in Hyde Park. They are beautiful. I've never been there before. That's lovely. I went to an Italian church in Farringdon, which was gorgeous. And I thought, all these places in London, it felt like I was a tourist. And then, just as we were in Farringdon and rounding the corner, the bells of St Paul's Cathedral, and we ran down, and it was joyous. It was like I was in, like, Rome anyway. Just, it was a sunny day, this big, amazing kind of cathedral. Yeah, so it was a delight. I felt really, really, really happy about it. And it could have been sad, and I did allow myself to have a big cry, but also, yeah, all these things, like going through grief and loss, and also all the marathons. I was like, right, I'm going to turn this into something kind of special and marvelous, and I think I'll never forget it. It just feels, yeah, very special now. And I even made myself an Italian flagged medal out of Fimo,
I loved it.
my kids' thing. So I was like, that'll be pride of place, like next to
Oh,
Sydney and Boston and New York and Chicago and Berlin and Copenhagen. And then I've got my Italian London medal as well.
yeah. Like I love it because yeah, like I say, I think that will always hold a special place in your
Yes.
heart, won't it? And it just shows you what we're capable of,
Mm.
because you created your own marathon, and you flipped how you felt, yet allowed yourself to feel the feelings, which is really freaking important. Like, we've got to let them out and allow the processing and all the things. And then it was like, well, and now what? And the now what was, I'm going to make a shitty situation actually something which can be really fun and joyous. And it was,
Yes.
And I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
sharing you before, I was in all your stories as I was recovering from my 21 mile of the day before. And it was just every single moment, big smile on my face. And I thought, like, this is the thing when and it doesn't have to be marathon running, right? Anyone listening might go, oh my God, marathon running, like, it's like find your home, like you're saying, the person who did jujitsu, like, find your home, find your thing. But when you find a thing that like fills your heart in a certain way, it gives you that kind of full body smile. Um, like it's amazing what we can make happen. Like
Mm.
I guess if you'd asked yourself a few years ago, will I be able to run a marathon on my own? And create one, and like you probably, I guess, would have been a no, because
Mm.
like as we all know, to do the full distance, it is a big mental, like it's a big mind game.
Yeah, yeah, it's a
Um,
lot on your head as well. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, so just the fact that like you were able to do that with your crew coming to do bits of it, it like yeah, it never ceases to amaze me. Like yeah, there's so much more that we're capable of when we allow ourselves, yeah, it's
Yes,
just
definitely.
fabulous. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
So running, I'm sure is one of your like joy givers. If you were to think of things that like give you joy, when you need that medicine, like when like like life can deliver a ton of stuff, as we know, right? And having things that help us like get through the stuff or be with the stuff or let us be with the stuff and then come out the other side is so helpful. So I guess running's one of your go-to, right, from what you've shared.
Yeah.
But like, where else do you go for like your joy givers? Where do you where's the medicine like that you can find to like help yourself feel and heal and all the things?
Well, I think for me, music is at the heart of everything, and
Right.
it connects me to my mom.
Yeah.
Like, so I grew up. I'm the daughter of a vicar, so I grew up in the church, and
Right.
even though I'm not religious now, I'm really spiritual and woo woo, and I
Yeah.
find you know um connections and signs, and I see people have passed away in different things. So
Right.
like if I'm listening, I listen to a lot of like classical music on the radio, and then all of a sudden there'll be a piece that was my mum's favorite um piece of music, or it might have been like the music that was played at my parents' wedding, and I'll just go,
Mm.
"Hi mum, thanks for coming to
Oh.
say hi." That gives me joy.
Yeah.
One of the greatest joys in my whole life is singing with my children. We sing a lot in this house. We love a musical, love some cheesy pop. And my daughter and I went to the Book of Mormon a couple of months ago. And sometimes we'll put on the entire score and sing it from start to finish while we're cleaning the kitchen and like act out things. That that is joy beyond, like
Yeah.
that is like peak joy. So I think, and yeah, going to concerts, and the other day I went to see David Byrne from Talking Heads, and my
Oh,
partner's favorite band. He's got a tattoo of the lyrics on his arm, and like singing that song together, and like seeing my partner come alive, and so I think those music, I would say music and exercise is really important, and being in the sea. Like I grew up by the water, and as an Aussie, obviously the beach is really important to me. So yeah, I think they're the kind of glimmers and joy givers, really. I think music much, and I played the piano and I played the cello as a child, and that got me through lockdown as well. Like I sat down at the piano again for the first time in years and played, and
right.
playing music with my children. Like my son plays bass and daughter plays guitar and stuff like that. So if we play music together, oh, like my heart bursts. Like it's like the
Yeah.
world stops. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh. Like I'm just smiling as you're describing all that because like you can see the joy in your face and the passion you talk about it. And this is a thing, I think we often don't give joy enough airtime to have conversations about, do we? And I
Mm.
just, yeah, there's a lot of resonance. My husband's a muso, used to be assigned to a band, a label and toured with his band. So music is a big thing in our house. And oh my gosh, the sea. There's just magic in the sea, isn't there?
Mm. Yeah.
And yeah, I think for me, that's probably my happy, happy, happy place. Like whether I'm
Yeah.
looking at it, whether I'm in it, whether I'm underwater, like diving in it, or
Yeah.
like on top of it. Like, so in
Yeah.
any form, like it's just something about the sea, is just almost like you can just really exhale. And obviously it delivers all sorts of different things because sometimes it's like dead flat and glass like, right? And you feel like you could
Mm.
just like, break it. And other times it's like the waves are everywhere. But no matter the mood of it, like I still get that same kind of, you know, I don't know,
Yes.
there's something like I just feel like she just scoops you up and you go, oh, I'm all right.
Yes, that's it. I think and someone said like like when you go swimming, it is like being held.
Yeah,
If you're swimming and it's the next best thing to like having a massage or something like that, that it's that constant contact on your skin and
yeah,
feeling an embrace, and sometimes it's bracing,
yeah,
I
yeah.
I found, like I went to, have you ever been to Hokum? Is it Holcombe Beach in
Oh,
North Australia?
yes, yes,
Yeah. I went with a friend and I was still in like the sort of wilds of recovering from the separation, and like just being bashed by the cold waves
yeah,
felt really powerful. Like I was enlivening all my senses. I was like, the salt and the air and the cold and all that sort of stuff. And I thought I really needed that. I really felt kind of to feel alive, because
yeah,
sometimes the sadness is so overwhelming.
yeah,
You want that aliveness.
yeah,
So yeah, I think, yeah, the C is, that's what they say, vitamin C.
yeah.
It is medicine. It really is. And I know my sister, and I talk about it in the book, that she started cold water swimming, and there's a group in Australia. I interviewed a couple of women when I was back there called the Sea Wolves. And then during in lockdown, they used to meet 8 a.m. every morning, group of women, all different ages, backgrounds. And what they do is they walk into the sea together exactly at 8 a.m. and then they form a circle and then they howl and then they lie back and
Oh,
that it's really powerful. And I
mm,
said we need more seawolves. And like I interviewed quite a few people, but I could only include a couple in the book. But they just said that it is just a woman her husband had died a couple of months before she joined the wall. She's like, I needed that primal scream, like that really big scream, to release this and like and
yeah.
feel held and welcome in this sort of community of women. Yeah, it's magical. I was like,
Oh, I'm
imagine if
just
women got together,
visualizing it now, and like
women
you
in the
can,
city,
oh
and
my
all
gosh,
different ages, all in bright cozies, every
yeah,
day of the year they get
yeah,
together. And sometimes, like
yeah.
when I went, there was 40 women, and then after Mum died, my sister and my cousin, we went and we took some flowers, and then they said what was her name, and all the women yelled her name, and we threw the flowers into the sea.
Oh,
Fucking magical, like really very, very, very powerful. And I love the sort of ritual of that, and like
yeah,
sitting and holding each other. So yeah, I think, yeah, that's been one of the joys of writing the book, is connecting with these women, but also holding their stories all together. Like your
yeah,
story, you talked so beautifully in my book about after your dad died and wanting to be in the
yeah,
sea, and also having a laugh, like
yeah,
releasing that. And we
yeah,
have to find our pathways of healing,
yeah,
our places of safety when the world feels unsafe and uncertain. So I think, yeah, I
yeah.
think that's important.
The sea is definitely my gut. If I'm dysregulated, and definitely running does that for me, for sure. But the sea is my, like, that's where I want to be if I'm just really not feeling myself, and I'm like, I want to feel, and whether it's like
Yes.
feel how I'm feeling or feel different, or but the feeling. And when and that was, as I shared with you when we were chatting about your book, 3 days after I'd lost my dad, I was like, I was asking myself, can I go in the sea? No, I can't. Can I go in the sea? On the third day, can I go? Oh, okay, I can go in the sea now. And I remember I like held my friend's hand. It was illegal then because we were right in the middle of another bloody lockdown. But my friends were like, you've lost your dad in the middle of COVID. That's like loss is shit regardless, right?
Yeah.
Loss in COVID, like just added so many other kind of layers to it. So yeah, so they were like giving me a hug, or it wasn't like, the second part of it, but still. But anyway, I remember holding her hand. And as we walked in, because it was freaking freezing, it was March, right? And so I like laughed often when I go in the sea because I started cold
Yeah.
water swimming when lockdown happened. It was like, whoa, how do we stay sane? I was like, shit, I don't like being cold, but actually I don't like being sad. So I'm getting
Okay.
I'm gonna get in the sea. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just allowed myself in my grief to allow like the laughter. And I think we can hold ourselves back from holding lots of different energies because maybe we feel like we should feel just this thing. And
Mm,
my lived experience, obviously I can only talk from my perspective, is I could feel like the deep grief, and I could feel the gratitude and the joy at the same time. I
mm.
allowed both of those to be true for me, and it definitely, like, it really supported me in that
Yeah.
time. And yeah, and I think with the sea, when you're feeling however you're feeling, like you're saying, the women coming together in circle and the how, like you've got the release, but also the sea just brings you here, doesn't it?
Mm.
It
Yes, yes,
takes you
it brings
from
you
there
home.
to all the places your head might be spinning, and you get in the water and you're like you say, aliveness. And I think when
Mm.
we're in aliveness, we're here and now.
Yes, yeah, and it brings you to the present, and I think that's something I think now we're all victims of all that, all the plates spinning all the
Yeah.
time, and notifications, and what I must be doing, blah, 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 it just so much all the time. So I think, yeah, just having that grounding is really, really important. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think like finding the space or the place or the thing, the whatever it is, where like you cannot be in the forward play of like, oh, what have I got to do and what's happening and or what might happen here, and the replay of like the things that maybe we're like, oh, that didn't work out quite so well, and all the things which can make our heads feel like a bunch of smashed biscuits because you're just like, like finding that place where you can be like those things can just do one, and I'm just gonna be Helen, and I'm just gonna be Kat, and
Mm.
and that's all I'm gonna be just for this moment, even if we can only manage it for like the few minutes that we're in the sea or whatever. I think getting out of our heads and just into that back in my body.
Yeah.
Because when we're back in our bodies, like we're back in the room, like we're then in our who we really are, instead of all
Mm.
the noise that can kind of overconsume, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think so, and that just takes practice. I think,
Yeah,
even if it's yeah, I interviewed a few different like psychotherapists and psychologists, and they were saying like learning, or when you're starting to heal is when you can just sit in those feelings just for a little bit. You don't have to be sad
yeah,
but in the beginning, it's okay to numb a bit, avoid a bit, because that's your survival. Whether that's through alcohol or food or whatever, and not to feel, have a bit of self compassion about that. We don't always choose the most healthiest option, and that's okay because
yeah,
we're just surviving. But I think having trying and allowing yourself these moments where you can have these deep feelings and connect with yourself, connect with nature, are really great ways in which we can, those little steps of getting stronger, rebuilding, creating your new normals. Yeah, it's really brilliant.
yeah. No, I so agree. I would love to dive in a little bit about laughter with you because
Excellent.
as a scummy mummy, right? You're obviously like laughter is your language, but I'd love your thoughts on this because like I feel that we just like don't laugh enough
Mm,
collectively. Like do you have any thoughts on like why well, in fact, I'm putting my opinion onto you. What do you think about laughter in terms of, do you think we do it enough? Like my thoughts are I don't think we laugh as much as we potentially could, right? But I'd love to know your take on like, yeah, what you feel around laughter and whether we, because I think it's a really powerful resource and I don't think we
Yeah.
use it as powerfully as we can. So I'd love to know your thoughts on it, in what you do.
Yeah, I guess I can speak from the perspective of seeing the impact of that
Yeah,
in my work. I've been touring and being a comedian for the last 13 years with Ellie, and so many women say to me, I really needed that laugh. I needed to
yeah,
laugh at the darkness, or I need, our shows are all about celebrating the imperfectness of parenting. And,
yeah,
it's a bit of self-deprecating stuff, but also just laughing at the ridiculousness of being a middle-aged woman,
yeah,
and in marriage or being single or whatever. And when you laugh collectively, it feels very healing, and that
yeah.
like we're all in this together. Then suddenly, a group of 300 strangers in a theater act as one, and it's a real
Mm,
unifying experience and a real leveling experience. Like, oh my God, they feel the same.
yeah,
We're in this together. That because parenthood, and I think also perimenopause and menopause can feel very, very lonely and
yeah,
isolating. And you're like, is it just me or am I going mental? So I think laughter's incredibly powerful, and it's that shared understanding. A shared joke is bliss, isn't it? Like, I get it.
yeah,
It's a real connector. And I think in a world where we're frequently feeling divided, and that your neighbor's not your neighbor anymore, it's really, collective laughter is amazing. It's like when you're out and about and you see something funny, and you the stranger next to you laughing, you're oh my God, this is such a human experience, that you saw
yeah,
something funny happen before your eyes. So yeah, and I think
mm,
it's important to laugh at home by yourself. Even I know I interviewed who was it? The lovely Julia Samuels, who's a grief, but she said just watching a funny cat video and having a laugh is an amazing circuit breaker.
mm,
Release the endorphins that can make you feel better. So, and I know that's the advice you gave me for your laughter yoga. Like, even taking 2 minutes just to make yourself laugh, your body
yeah.
doesn't distinguish between the two, the created laughter and the spontaneous laughter. So it's medicine, it's community, it's all those sort of things. So yeah, oh yeah, we should be laughing lots. I think it's very good. It
We
is.
really should. And and I always find it really interesting when I host my laughter yoga workshops at events and festivals. Like, people come up at the end and go, I haven't laughed like that in such a long time. I've even had people share, like we often do, shares at the end, and people putting their hands up and saying, it's been 10 years since I laughed like that. And you're like, wow. And
Mm,
obviously you don't know the story, right? And like,
yeah.
a lot of life can happen to people. But what I always kind of take in that is, isn't this a powerful reminder that when we come together and gather collectively, like, we can feed off each other's energy, because
Mm,
laughter is, imagine, it's the same, when you're like telling the jokes, whatever, like it literally, it just bounces, 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 bounces. And you can, like, I can feel the energy rising in a workshop from
yeah.
people just allowing, and I think
Mm,
in laughter, like, there's a real freedom, isn't there?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's a real freedom of like, oh, I'm just gonna be myself, and I think
Yeah,
so often we like trying to wear too many hats, or maybe we've had to put the mask on because of whatever, and it's like in laughter, like, you typically, like, that's just you. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah. The mask comes off a bit, and yeah, I
yeah,
know. I know. In comedy, it's really important to have the right settings and conditions for laughter. Like,
yeah,
you, Ellie and I on stage have to have all the lights on us, and the best laughter comes from in the dark,
yeah,
from the audience, because they let go, because they think, oh, I can just look as silly and let go, and people don't want to be. I don't think sometimes I'm the same. Want to be looked at when I'm laughing, because you just sort of think, oh, I look ridiculous. And
yeah,
so I think being, it's different for your workshops, but in a comedy setting, if the audience is in complete darkness and they
Yeah.
really let go, it's a bit like, it's
Yeah.
probably a bit like sex in a way.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, oh my God, I have more fun having sex in the dark because I'm like, you can't see how low my boobs are flapping about, or the hair on my bum, or whatever. I can
I
inhabit
love it.
and let go. So that's just me. But
No,
I
that's
think
a perfect, very relatable analogy. Yeah.
and then
Um,
your pleasures are heightened because,
yeah.
like, you're taking away one of the senses. So
Yeah.
yeah, so laughter in the dark, I think,
Yeah.
is a really it's a really good thing.
And that is the real difference between like when you're sharing laughter and when I'm sharing laughter. Yours is like you guys are creating the laughter for people to respond to. And so, like you
Yeah.
say, in the dark, safe, just let it all out. In my workshops, it's such a different spin, and that's where people can feel that like the bum clench with the laughter
Yeah.
because it's like, it's all very open and light and bright and whatever. But we're so used to laughing for jokes, the conditioned
Mm.
laughter, that laughing just because can feel like a real stretch out the comfort zone, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
that's when the like, have I laughed for long enough? Is my laugh okay? And
Yeah.
and all the things that get people in their head, which is like when you're doing comedy and it's dark, like people can just explode, and there's the safe zone, right? Where
Mm.
in my workshops, you can see people will start to laugh and then they'll do this, like hand over mouth, because it's
Yes, of course, yeah.
oh, I better stop now. So there's a really big teaching in what I deliver of all laughs are welcome. Like create your laughter to start, and then your endorphins would kick in, and your cortisol would drop down, and then your natural laughter would calm, and then you'll just get in a flow and a rhythm, and like don't hold back. And what you find is like it's so wonderful to witness,
Yes.
because you look at people at the end and it's like someone's turned this like giant dial in them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
like their whole physiology changes. Their eyes look different, their facial expression is different, they're holding themselves different. Like just everything has done this big switch. So I guess my big mission is that like what would be wonderful if like yes like see the comedy and receive laughter that way, but what a brilliant thing to adopt is like, do I get to be the creator of my own laughter? Do I
Yes.
get to at home just practice a bit of laughter yoga so I can, like you're saying, with the expert you spoke to, so I can circuit break that loop pattern that's been going on this morning, and in fact it was there yesterday, and in fact it was there, and it's just getting in the way of all these things I want to do. And
Yeah.
that's what I've noticed with it. You can do it for just a few minutes, like
Mm.
like even like just 2 3 minutes, and people will say to me, oh, I'm feeling in a completely different energy, and I'm like, wow. So like
Mm.
more of that, where we get to self practice. Like we could like lift the vibration of the planet with it for sure. And
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and it's part of my mission before I die. But like so, well, until I die. Before I
Yeah.
die sounds sooner, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Until as long as I'm on this planet, like I'll
Yeah,
be
keep
talking
doing
about
it.
it.
Yeah.
But it would just, yeah, I could, there's such power in laughter, whether it's a conditioned or unconditional, the connectivity of a collective all laughing together. You know, it's what the world
Really
needs,
gorgeous.
right? Yeah,
Yeah, it's lovely. Well, bloody
yeah.
well done, Kat. You're doing great
Well, sometimes it feels a bit of a solo mission, but I'm totally here for it.
stuff.
Helen, I feel that's a perfect point for us to do some laughter breaths. Are you up for it?
Oh, of course, of course. You're in a,
Do
well,
a
we're in a very safe place with each other, aren't we?
Absolutely. Anyone listening, like there's a juicy invitation to join in. But if you just want to kind of have a listen and then a replay and join in, all is good. But just really notice how your body shifts and how your like internal energy is just from being part of collective laughter. It's such a powerful thing. So, Helen, what
Oh,
we're going to do is we're going to take a breath in through the nose and then we breathe out. We're just going to let out some juicy, hearty laughter. The
okay.
idea with laughter yoga, which is the kind of the switch point with conditioned laughter, is we want to like keep it going for as long as possible. But like just do what feels good, right? Everything is
Yeah.
always welcome. Okay. I'm
All right, I'll be
excited.
guided by you. I mean, it's like, oh yeah, I laugh every 3 seconds anyway, so it's not like I'm doing something. Okay.
See, and I find I start talking about it and then we all just start laughing anyway.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Okay, so let's take a breath in and then big juicy exhale with laughter.
Lovely.
Let's go again. Breath in
Okay.
and breathe out with laughter. And I'm a power of three, girls. So let's do one more together.
Okay. All right.
Big,
My
big.
cheeks are already sore from our chat anyway. I'm like, ow, ow. It's
I
like
love it. Yes,
I've got to the end of a
definitely.
workout, you know.
Okay,
Like a
big
gym
breath
instructor
in.
going, come on, one more,
Yes.
one more.
Big breath in and big juicy exhale.
Ah. Thank you, Kat. My first laughter yoga. There you go. You popped my cherry.
Amazing. Thank you for joining. I'd love for you to share, like, how are you feeling now in your energy? Like, what comes up for you?
Oh, it was good. It was good to, I think, yeah, I've definitely felt like, when you've like let some air out of a balloon and it
Yeah,
floats down a bit,
yeah, yeah,
like the helium's coming in. Yes. And then all right, now have a nap.
yeah. I love it. Oh, Helen, you have been such an amazing guest to interview. I have absolutely
Oh,
loved our chat. I can't wait to read the book. I'm like mega, mega excited. And I'm already visualizing it being a Sunday Times #1 bestseller. So let's just put it out there. In fact, as this is going out, it will all just be like happening magically anyway. So
yes.
super
Fingers
excited.
crossed. Fingers crossed. Oh, that's so thoughtful. Thanks, Kat.
Oh yeah, I can't can't wait to read it. And I think it's just going to be like you say, you've got lots of people's different stories, right? So
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a really powerful read for many people because lots of people will be able to see themselves. And this is the thing when we gather other people's stories and lived experience, people go, "Oh, I see myself. Oh, that's me." Or yeah, like I can really relate. So
Yeah.
like it's a powerful book for you to have like given space to. So
Yeah.
like thank you for on behalf
Oh,
of
thank you
everyone
for
for
being
doing
part of
that.
it. Yeah.
Um, before we go, my lovely, anything you would love to share? Obviously, I'm going to put links for how people can connect with you in the show notes. But yeah, anything you would love to share as a wrap up, anything that you feel we haven't covered, anything else you want to say about joy, just whatever feels good, my darling.
Oh, that's really kind. Well, obviously, I'd love you to buy the book. It's called How to Face Big Change and Come Back
Show
Stronger.
off.
And oh, yes, 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 here it is.
Look.
And I'm on a book tour, so going to Leeds, Nottingham, Chester, and a place called Chorleywood, which is just north of London. So come along, and then of course come to the Scummy Mummies shows. That's if you want to laugh, just go to scummymummies.com and tickets are there. So that's lovely.
Amazing. Yeah. And obviously, like Insta's your big hangout, I think, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I've got an Instagram handle that's it's me, Helen Thorn, and also Scummy Mummies. You can find me there as well.
Yeah, amazing. Oh, and as you probably heard, everyone listening, we love a chat. So I'm sure if there's anything that you would love to reach out to Helen about, I'm sure she would love to hear from you. And if you do get her book, which I really encourage, I'm sure she would love to hear what you think about it. I'm sure there'll be lots of coverage over socials as it makes its mark on the world. But I think when you like I haven't written a book yet, but I know I'm going to write one. And my what I imagine with it is it's like birthing another child, right? You know, you put your heart, put your soul into it. So I think hearing how people have received it is really important, isn't it? You know,
Mm.
because like you're putting this out to the world for a reason. So yeah, if you give it a read, definitely yeah, give it a review and let Helen know what you thought of
Actually, going to
it.
DM me on Instagram or whatever. So yeah,
Oh,
that
amazing. Yeah, I was like, I didn't check whether you've got your DMs open. So, but yeah, please do
yeah,
DM her then
yeah,
because yeah,
that's lovely. Yeah,
I'm sure she would love to hear. So, Helen, it has been such a joy, my darling. I'm so excited that we got to record this. And like, I'm so excited that that 4 years ago I came to that expo and saw
oh,
you talking because who knows if I would have found you? I don't know. I feel like another way you would have come
yeah,
into my world, right? Because I just think
yeah,
there's people that you feel that you're just supposed to meet in life, right? And
yeah.
I love your energy. I love what you share and what you're standing for, and like your vision and mission with what you're doing. So yeah, I feel that we probably would have like connected at some point, but
Oh,
I'm
we'll
so
find our way
excited, you
together.
know.
Yeah,
But the me of 4 years ago would not have envisaged that you'd be coming on my podcast to talk about like your second book. So I just this is
yeah,
what's so lovely. It's like if we're open and curious and we can be surprised and delighted by amazing things, right? So,
mm,
yeah,
mm.
I'm super grateful you've come on the pod, my lovely. Anyone listening, I would love you to share with us any thoughts and anything that has come up during this. Please do reach out to us, my lovelies. And until the next episodes, my darlings, take lots of care. Sending all the love. Thank you, Helen.